Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news mashup video today, starting with Derek Chisora, who says that he'll be bringing in American heavyweight Bryan Jennings soon into camp. So this to me is the clearest indication yet that a date must be firming up for Derek Chisora versus Oleksandr Usyk. Usyk, the WBO mandatory holder. The fight was previously scheduled for May, but obviously because of the pandemic had to be rescheduled. So there has been talk it could be held in October or November, but a date must be firming up and Chisora soon to go into a full camp training environment. And Jennings, he has served as a primary sparring partner on a number of occasions for Chisora. So he says, I'm training hard, it's going well, and Bryant Jennings will be back soon, no mercy, and the fire emoji, hashtag Usyk Chisora. And I think this is a fight we'd like to see for a number of reasons. How much has Chisora got left in the tank? Can he upset the apple cart here with Usyk being the favourite for this fight? And for Usyk, on the other hand, it's a chance for him to prove that he can mix it at heavyweight, because Derek Chisora always comes to fight, he'll give it a go, and if Chisora is beaten handily by Usyk, I think that will make people believe that Usyk can have a much better shot at the weight, because there is a number of fans that do doubt what he can do at heavyweight at this point. Alexander Povetkin has weighed in on the split between Dillian Whyte and his former trainer Mark Tibbs. So Povetkin and Whyte are due to fight on August the 22nd in the fight camp, the fourth of 4 dates, and that is in Eddie Hearn's back garden, as it were, at the Matchroom HQ, his childhood home. But Povetkin telling Sky Sports, anything can happen in the camp. Proof boxers should be ready for everything. Only the fight will demonstrate if the trainer has had any effect on his camp and preparation. Maybe there is some pressure on him. Every fight has pressure. My preparation is responsible. I put in maximum effort not to lose the possibilities for the future. And Alexander Povetkin, at 40 years old now, he is the underdog in this fight. He has been on the slide in recent years, but it still should shape up as a relatively competitive fight, at least in the first half of it. I think that's when many believe Povetkin will be at his most dangerous and has a good chance of winning and potentially stopping Whyte in those early rounds. That's kind of the way a lot of people see the fight. But obviously, if it goes past the halfway mark, it's going to certainly favour Dillian Whyte, either for a late stoppage potentially or a points victory. It'll be interesting to see what sort of game plan Dillian Whyte will bring, but I think he'll try to nullify Povetkin early on with some movement, and then obviously try to work more into the fight and look to land that big left hook. But I'll be coming with a 10 things to watch for video very shortly on that fight, where I'll expand on some of these things, including potential effect of the split with Mark Tibbs. The WBA regular holder Manuel Charr is now calling out Andy Ruiz Jr. So Charr, who won the belt in November 2017 by defeating Alexander Ustinov, it was a vacant title that was put up at the last minute, hasn't fought since beating Ustinov. So obviously a lot of people have been wondering what's he going to do, what's happening next, and there was a ordered fight from the WBA between him and Trevor, Bryan, the interim champion for the WBA. So what's happening with that? Who knows, but clearly Manuel Charr is looking elsewhere at the moment. So he said on social media, it's time for a real fight, what the boxing fans want. I challenge you, Andy Ruiz Jr., for the WBA World Champion title fight. I'm ready for war of boxing match. Let's give the Mexico and Middle East and the world a true warrior fight. Are you ready to step with me in the ring? So Manuel Charr, or Mahmoud Charr, he seems to be going between both names on social media, calling out Andy Ruiz Jr. Ruiz Jr. coming off a loss to Anthony Joshua in December 2019. He lost his belts at that point, and this would, if this fight came off, sort of be a quick way back to having a secondary title and getting in the mix a bit quicker. But seemingly, he is going to go another route, because clearly there's been indications he's about to announce a fight at some point with Chris Arreola. And if you listen to the PBC podcast from about 2 weeks or so ago, Joe Goosen was on there and effectively waxing lyrical about Arreola. The next fight that he's going to have, Arreola had good news, and then talking up Andy Ruiz Jr. and the fight with Arreola and what that would sort of result in. So to me, that signals that fight is done and dusted. But maybe something like this, if the PBC decided to pay Manuel Charr, overpay him to get that title, maybe this could actually happen. Remains to be seen. But in respect of that statement where he says it's what the boxing fans want, not really. I mean, for promotional purposes, I could see this working for the PBC, basically pay for a title, because Manuel Charr, Mahmoud Charr, whatever we're calling him, he is not very good. He would get beaten by Andy Ruiz Jr. and knocked out probably in under half a dozen rounds. And when he says it's what the boxing fans want, yeah, not so much. I think he must have conducted a poll, and that poll was of one himself. So I don't really want to see this fight, but if Manuel Charr, Mahmoud Charr, ends up having a fight with someone like Andy Ruiz Jr., at least that would get him off the scene to some extent, because he has been parading around as a world champion but not fighting. So he needs to be in the ring fighting someone, and someone of note, to really sort of call himself a champion. Because if you recall with that fight with Oleksandr Ustinov, no one was calling for that to be a fight for the regular title, but it was put up, and we haven't seen or sighted Manuel Charr in the ring since. Meanwhile, Andy Ruiz Jr. has been back at it again on social media, asking fans who they would like to see him fight. And his social media person, I mean, maybe it's him, but I'd say it's someone, posting on his behalf, is now recycling tweets and posting them, old tweets, and posting them on Instagram. So the post, which was on Twitter from June, is now being put up on Instagram in July, asking, who would you like to see me fight next? And this is the fourth time in recent months that Andy Ruiz Jr. has actually done this. And given we know that an Arreola fight with Ruiz Jr. is basically imminent in terms of an announcement that that fight is going to happen at some point, why is he bothering actually asking this of the public? And if you go to that post on Instagram and read through the comments, there are some brutal responses as well. But Andy Ruiz Jr., obviously with the PBC schedule, they haven't announced a large chunk of their comeback schedule, but he will be on a card, no doubt, facing Chris Arreola, and maybe he could go for a Manuel Charr after that. I guess anything is possible. But the WBA, in respect of Charr, they need to actually, tell us what's going to be happening with that fight with Trevor Bryan. And Bryan himself, see here on screen, also out on social media, nowhere to hide, the champ is coming for you. So who that is directed at is unclear, because like Manuel Charr, Mahmoud Charr, Trevor Bryan has been a ghost in the ring for the past couple of years. No one has been hiding from Trevor Bryan. He's the one that has been out of sight and largely out of mind. Remembering the three opponents that he fought before his so-called title fight with BJ Flores had collectively over 70 losses. So he's a guy that needs to actually prove something in the ring. You have guys like Bryan and Charr parading around like champions and not really doing too much to prove to boxing fans that they are champion caliber material. The heavyweight prospect Alen Babbage, who's currently 3-0, is calling out Tom Little with his manager Dillian Whyte. So Alen Babbage, who goes by the nickname The Savage, he is currently in Portugal training with Dillian Whyte. So check this clip out that they've put up on social media.
Alen Babbage is a savage. He's going to turn Tom Little in a cabinet. Tom Little will want the smoke. Let's go. I'll go for a second.
And Babbage, he continues on his post where this clip was, saying, big plans for the rest of the corona year. It's never too early to start calling people out. Whoever wants it can get it. So this is obviously an influence of Dillian Whyte here. But Tom Little and Alen Babbage, not a bad fight for Babbage at this stage. He would beat Tom Little, but is Little going to be interested in that fight? And Dillian Whyte, you heard in the clip mentioning August the 22nd, they do still have one slot to fill out on that card. So potentially Whyte is trying to get Alen Babbage onto that pay-per-view event. And I wouldn't mind that. Alen Babbage versus Tom Little gives us another look at Babbage and where he's really at, because if he breezes past Tom Little, then we can sort of, see where to next for Alen Babbage, who does have some good talent, but obviously compared to a lot of other heavyweight prospects in the division right now, he's certainly flying under the radar. We don't really know how good he is at this point. And rounding out this heavyweight news mashup bulletin, ESPN and Top Rank have announced that they've picked up the Agit Kabayel headline card in Germany, which is a SES promotion. Kabayel is going to be taking on Evgenios Lazaridis, and also Peter Kaderu features on the undercard. He's taking on Ruben Wolf. So ESPN Plus has picked it up. They will be broadcasting that event. See here on screen, it says July 18th, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.